Hi, my name's Patricia Cornelius and I want to talk to you about mental health. I'm going to be reading most of my message because I'm nervous enough as it is and I don't want to ramble too much. I personally have generalized anxiety disorder, which results in my brain not producing enough serotonin, which in turn means I'm quite prone to depression. On reflection, I've probably had these anxious and depressive tendencies my entire life. I've experienced these states on no medication, on medication that didn't quite work for me, and on the right medication. I'm currently on the right medication, which is part of the reason that I'm able to sit in front of this camera and record this message. Living with an anxiety disorder, well, it gives me a distorted view of the world. One where if I'm not perfect, no one would ever love me, no one would ever likes me, and I think that people generally only tolerate me because they're too polite to tell me to go and fly a kite. In this distorted reality, no one thinks very highly of me. In fact, for the most part, they think I'm downright stupid and annoying. Then the depression, which comes sidling up behind the anxiety, the horrible mean liar that it is, pipes up and starts trying to convince me that the world, and especially those closest to me, would be a bit better off without me. But this isn't the truth. Not for me, not for you, not for anyone. One of the most accurate descriptions of mental illness that I've come across is that it is soul cancer. Calling mental illness soul cancer resonates with me because mental illness eats away at your sense of self, your enjoyment of life and everything in it. The soul cancer also eats away at your connections. You slip away from your family and friends as you become more and more withdrawn, and the activities that you once enjoyed become a chore. But this is a lie that depression is telling you, and even though it sometimes feels as though there is no hope left in the world, there is still hope. You are not alone, and it is very important to remember in the dark times when you are fighting against this monster, you are more than your mental illness. You can beat this. I believe in you. One of the things that I find helps me a great deal is to remember that my anxiety and depression are part of me, in the same way that my heart and lungs, hands and feet are part of me. But they are not all of me. This very profound insight came courtesy of New York Times best-selling author Jenny Lawson, and you really should read her blog. It's thebloggess.com. It's absolutely hilarious and very, very inspiring. Another thing which really helps me, especially when I'm very down, is to read part of a letter that Stephen Fry, the British actor, wrote in reply to one of his fans. He says, "I found that it's of some help to think of one's moods and feelings about the world as being similar to the weather. Here are some obvious things about the weather. It's real. You can't change it by wishing it away. If it's dark and rainy, it really is dark and rainy, and you can't alter it. It might be dark and rainy for 2 weeks in a row, but it will be sunny one day. It isn't under one's control as to when the sun comes out, but come out it will. One day." It really is the same with one's moods, I think. The wrong approach is to believe they are illusions. They are real. Depression, anxiety, listlessness, those are as real as the weather and equally not under one's control, not one's fault. But they will pass. They really will. Personally, I find thinking of my moods as a form of internal weather to be incredibly helpful, and I see my medication as a form of umbrella. It helps me to be able to get on with my life even if it is dark and rainy. I guess my message to you, if you have or suspect that you might have some form of mental illness, is firstly, you are not alone. You are so not alone. There are literally millions of people in the world who, at some stage or another, experience some form of mental illness. Secondly, it gets better. But it gets better faster if you get help. Speak to someone, your doctor, a therapist, a friend, an anonymous person on the end of a hotline or on the internet. Thirdly, it's not your fault, and it doesn't matter why you feel the way you do. Your feelings are real, and you can come through the other side. And I know in the deepest, darkest moments of a depressive episode, it takes tremendous effort just to hang on, moment by moment, weathering that storm, minute by minute. But you can do it, and eventually, after what seems like an eternity, the sun comes out. Finally, it's part of you, not all of you. Please, don't ever give up. Thanks for listening, and I hope this helped.